Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the Naked Truth Podcast. Today we are actually going to cover a subject that is a little heavier than the subjects that we've covered on our first two podcasts. But our goal is to shed some light around this topic, and the topic is depression. And hopefully you can get some takeaways or some tips if you know anyone that's fighting depression or if you have depression. But we're going to have our lovely Johanna sharing her story and her journey with depression and how she battled with it and how she kind of got it under control. So anyway, Johanna, I'll let you take over.
Without further ado, I know this is like a really, I think I feel very vulnerable sharing this story because not everybody knows it. My close friends and family do. But it's not something you talk about a lot, and that's why I want to talk about it. Just so other people who are out there suffering talk, because that's the one thing I realized when I look back on my life, I wasn't talking and sharing enough, and I was keeping it all bottled in, secret to myself, and that's really, really dangerous. So, begin. So yes. I battled a little bit on and off, like when I my teens. Then I was a teen. I had a baby at 19, so I was battling a little bit then, but it didn't really hit me really, really deep and dark until I moved to the US, and it was probably a year or so after I moved. It was when Sam, my second child, was about 6 months old, and I just felt myself spiraling down into, I always call it the Alice in Wonderland hole. Felt like I was going down the rabbit hole, and I got deeper and deeper to the point where I felt like I could never get out. I just felt like I was in a forest. Like that saying that you can't see the trees through the forest, and you just feel it's so dark and dense, and I just felt like my life was never going to get better. I was a terrible person. I was a terrible mother, a terrible wife. I was just so sad. I cried all the time. I didn't have any friends, or the friends I did have, I did not know that well, so I would not share with them because I was embarrassed. I felt like I was a crazy person.
And you were new to the country here, so you didn't probably have a lot of close friends.
I think I had two
and you
friends.
Had no family here.
Yeah. No family, and I wasn't going to call my Australian family and tell them because they couldn't help me, and I felt like I was going to burden. I felt like I was burdening everybody. I just felt like I was a burden and a loser, and I had acne, so I felt depressed about that. But just and my husband at the time, my ex-husband, traveled for like 2 weeks at a time. He was gone a lot through work, and when he was home, and I'd try and share my feelings, which a lot of people say is like, just cheer up. Yeah. Why can't you be happy like all the women I work with? Why are you always sad? Just be happy. You've got nothing to be sad about. And so he didn't understand, so I just stopped sharing. And what he didn't realize is my mind started clicking and ticking and thinking, if I just take myself out of this picture, if I just end my life, everyone's going to be happier. But I had 2 young children, so it's horrible, but I started thinking, do I jump off that bridge alone, or do I bring them with me? And it was just like this horrible time in my life. And I remember taking Sam to his pediatrician, or like, because he got croup a lot. It was another thing. He was sick a lot, and I was alone. And I burst out crying. And then I shared what I was going through, and she was just astonished. And she gave me Zoloft to take.
So the pediatrician just basically prescribed Zoloft,
yeah,
without kind of diagnosing you.
And it was kind of like an urgent care. It wasn't even like my kid's real pediatrician. Okay. She didn't really even know us, and she prescribed me Zoloft, and I took it, and I stopped crying.
So, yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode.
A question with that: did she think it was more postpartum versus an actual depression?
I don't know.
At the time, I wonder if she kind of thought, okay, she just had a baby.
Yeah, I don't, because now it astounds me. At the time, I was just so alone that one person listening to me, giving me a pill, and I told her that I was suicidal. There was no follow-ups. There was nothing. I basically was just like left with these pills, and I stopped being sad. I stopped feeling suicidal. I was numb, but then, I didn't like that feeling, so I slowly weaned myself off. After about a year, I think, 1.5 years, I weaned myself off.
So you didn't get a doctor to help you. Nope. You just kind of wean yourself off.
Wean myself off, yeah.
And you knew enough at that time, which some people don't know. Yeah. They just take themselves off, which can be very dangerous.
Yeah, you cannot
do
that.
So you just knew to kind of wean yourself off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because on the packet, I think I read the pack, because I was like, I never ever like asked anyone for help ever. I was just that was just my personality.
And as far as like you just said, you didn't ask anyone for help or reach out, and this is another reason why we want to do this podcast is because it's healthy to reach out and ask for help, and we put so much on us as women and moms that we have to have it all together. We have to hold it all together, and we're super women, or whatever.
It's embarrassing too, because you think people are going to think you're crazy, or I don't know, you just put on this front for everybody. And especially when people like closest to you are telling you to cheer up, you're thinking, if you're telling me to cheer up, I'm not going to tell a girlfriend that I barely even know my feelings.
Right.
And so yeah, you just kind of keep to yourself. So I got myself out of it, and it hit me again when my third child, Maximo, was born. He was probably like 6 months to a year as well, and I just cried all day. I was like driving around in my car, bawling. I just felt so sad. I felt myself going deeper and deeper again, and it scared me. And I knew how I got last time, so I took myself to a doctor and got back on Zoloft.
Okay.
So I was back on it probably for like 6 months, maybe a year, and I hated the feeling. I felt numb, more so even than the first time I took it. I just felt like I couldn't even cry. I wasn't even like crying or like sad about anything. So it went from one extreme to the other, where I was like so sad, and then so like somebody could have said, hey, your mom died. I'd be like, wow, that's sad, and I wouldn't have cried. That's how bad.
Wow.
I had no sexual drive. Like it just like destroys everything.
The only thing I can relate to that is watching my dad at his younger brother's funeral, and he was on antidepressant, and it was an open casket, and we're sitting there, and he didn't even shed one tear, and I'm just like blubbering mess. But I realized at the time, or I realized a little bit later, oh, he was on an antidepressant. And I'm not saying that antidepressants are bad. I'm just saying it was fully, he wasn't able to feel at all, and that was just really sad. And I don't know, I never want to be so numb that I can't feel my emotions.
That's the thing, because we're not putting down medication, because you need it, and that really helps you get out of a hole.
Yeah.
But I think there's so many more layers that you need. If a doctor gives you a pill, you need to have like somebody to talk to about it.
Yes.
You need somebody to be calling, like, how are you going, like every few weeks. Not
Checking
just like
in.
checking in, not like here's another prescription and just like giving you that and like leaving you to yourself.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to live our life crying, and we also don't want to live our life numb. You have to live, and if there's somewhere in between, and there's other ways for support. So yeah, with Maximo, I got through that, and then I was pregnant because I got 5 kids. So number 4, Mark. When I was pregnant with Mark and with my current husband Chris, and I was so scared. I was telling him I'm going to get really depressed, and I'm so scared this is going to happen to me again. And he's like, no, I'll be there for you. And I didn't get depressed. Mark was like an angel, easy baby, because when he was born, he was like a 35-year-old man, as we all know.
Right.
So it was very easy. It didn't hit me again until number 5, James, who had a lot of like health issues in the beginning, and I had 5 kids at home. I was completely overwhelmed and sad, and I just felt like I was screaming at kids all day. I was screaming at everyone. I was like crying and like overreacting to things, like making sandwiches, because all I did was cook and clean, look after kids, and I just felt like I had no purpose in life. I was so depressed, and I thought my life is never going to get better, and everyone would be better without me. And that's like the really, really dangerous. This is like probably the most dangerous, close to me killing myself. It's really
sad.
it's really sad, and it's like kind of like horrible to even talk about. And I'm laughing
But
because
people need
that's
to
how I
hear
get
this
through
because they
things.
could be going through the similar situation as you right now, and no one would look at you.
No.
And because a lot of people judge, we say don't judge a book by its cover, but they think, oh my gosh, you're married to a wonderful man, you have a beautiful family, you're beautiful, and so how could you, feel that way about yourself? But it just, I mean,
I know, and if there's a man or a woman out there and your partner is saying these things to you, like, I'm so sad and all that, listen to them, because I think a lot of the time, for me, there's no way I was going to tell somebody, I'm so sad and depressed and I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, no, because if I'm going to kill myself, I'm not going to tell anyone, because I don't want anyone to stop me. And that's how I was thinking. And I was thinking, I'm going to take myself out the picture. Because Chris can get another wife who's like cheerful and like happy. Kids can get another mother that's going to be like a nice mom that's not screaming and yelling. And if I was just gone, everyone's life was going to be so much better. Which is like the opposite. I would have destroyed everyone. So there's a lot of story in between, but that's basically the one night I ran out the house thinking I was barefoot, 10 o'clock at night, and I was going to go jump off the 217 overpass onto the highway, which would have like hurt more people, which I'm not even thinking. I thought I was just like being kind to everyone, but my one of my friends, she was a neighbor, and she was like been driving around the neighborhood. She was in a van, and she just stopped and she was crying because she was going through some marital problems. And she wound down the window saying, Johanna, what are you doing out at night barefoot? And I looked at her and she goes, come here. We got in the van and she was bawling and talking about her marriage, and I was sitting there thinking, this is so awkward, but okay. And I listened and I started talking to her, and like, because I'd been through divorce, so I was helping her.
Yeah.
And we sat for an hour talking, and by the time I got out the car, I had this feeling of, I'm worthwhile. I'm not useless. I'm not this terrible person that I thought I was. And it really changed my whole way I was thinking. I went inside, I told Chris what I was planning to do, and he was devastated. and we started talking more about it, and I opened up more and shared. I didn't go on Zoloft.
So she was like an angel.
She was
really.
an angel, and I don't think she even knows that. Deanne, if you're out there listening to this, like, you basically saved my life that night, and
you can
saved,
be that person.
Yeah.
You know,
And you never know when you're
never know.
Yeah. So we'll put. No, I got goosebumps.
Yeah,
because that
me
really
too.
was like a big life-changing moment for me, and so
Thank God for her.
Thank God for her. And
Yeah.
because she made me realize, I could get teary now. She made me realize that I was worthwhile, and maybe I was put on this earth like to go through these horrible situations. So now I can share them and help other people get through these horrible like situations.
Now you're gonna make me cry.
I know.
I'm gonna give you a hug.
But that's the whole thing. You have to realize you got a purpose in life and find that purpose.
Yes.
And I did not go back on the Zoloft because I didn't like how it felt. So Chris, because he researches everything, he started giving me all these supplements to take, and I talked more and I shared, and I reached out and asked people's help. That's another thing. I'm getting hot now. I reached out and asked people for help more than I ever did before, and just sharing my story with people.
Yeah,
And it was actually not funny but interesting. My daughter, a few years later, she bawled her eyes out. It's like a long story, but she was crying, saying, "Mom, I think I'm going crazy. I think there's something wrong with me. I'm a crazy person." And she started telling me how she was feeling, and I'm like, I don't know if Jazz wants me to share this story, but I was like, you're depressed and you have anxiety.
This was after the baby?
Yeah, this is like after I've gone through everything, and like, so I helped her.
Oh, this was before she had a baby though.
Oh yeah. This
Okay,
is like in high school.
Oh,
and she was
okay,
going through some a horrible time, but like, and she thought she was going crazy, and I was so thankful that her talking to me, and I realized, no, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not crazy, and we understood each other, and so even for that moment to help her. But now I don't like looking at my depression as something negative. I feel like it was almost a gift because it's made me stronger, and now I'm not going through that. Every now and then I'll feel myself going through it, and I pull myself out. I feel like I'm dark, I'm like getting depressed, and I'll like tell somebody, reach out and tell somebody, and talk about it more. But I'm just happy to be able to share my story in case it's either somebody going through it or somebody somebody who's going through it.
And
don't tell people just to cheer up, just talk to them and let them talk.
Yeah.
I think ask them questions, and anyway, so I'm glad we got that over.
Well, I know, it happened for you in a way, and now maybe you were meant to share this and help other people, and now you have a voice, we have a podcast, and now you're sharing it, and you could potentially save somebody even today. So I mean, it's
and especially
it's
I think
very
for mothers.
brave of you, and and for moms, like I said, we put so much pressure on ourselves. We have to do it all, and we need to talk to people. We need to reach out when we need help. We need to ask for help that we need. And if we're spiraling like that or whatever, we need to.
And everyone wants to help. That's what they don't realize.
That's
People,
true.
you're not thinking I'm burdening my friend by telling them.
Yeah.
People want to have a purpose to help you.
Yeah, we need to change that stigma.
Yeah. Everyone talk about it more.
It's true.
Yeah. But we can go on in another episode about.
So, what were some of the supplements that you?
I wrote them down.
That you were on that are natural supplements that kind of helped.
Things that I take now is like omega fatty acids, like fish oils. They're very good for your brain. Vitamin B, like a multi-B, because all the Bs are very good for you. Vitamin D. There's one called SAM-E. I don't take that, but I've been researching, and that's been to be very good for mental health.
Okay.
St. John's wort. The main thing that I take every single day is ashwagandha, and I take it in a tincture, which tastes like terrible, like it tastes like poison, but it's not. And I just put it under my tongue, and that is and CBD. You and I both love CBD, so
and that's a newer thing for both of us.
And it's not THC. It's like just CBD.
No, CBD, no THC, but it does help with. I don't battle depression, but
stress,
anxiety, and stress, and that CBD helps a lot. That's a whole nother episode.
But the ashwagandha and the rhodiola, they're adaptogens, which I'm still learning about this. But yes, it helps your body to cope with stress and cope with all these other things.
And more preventative than actually. So
you don't just take, I'm having an anxiety attack. Yeah. Ashwagandha. No, you're just taking it every day.
To build up. And we can put this in the notes.
Yeah, this is like a whole other episode. All that. Yeah, but we can put them in the notes.
But thank you for sharing your story. I think it's so important for a lot of people to hear.
Yeah.
And whether you feel that you're suffering, or you know somebody, or you can even do a check-in with your children, because that's really important. And it's beautiful that Jazz was reaching out to you as a mom and open communication, because that's super important too. Because some kids just don't talk to their parents, and I admire you so much for that, because your kids all talk to you, and it's.
But she actually, she normally did, but she was not. She was sleeping all the time.
Oh.
I thought she was being lazy. She was trying to get out of school. And that's the day I was yelling at her, like, get in the car right now. You're not sick. You're not having another day off school. And I didn't see the signs, because there was different signs than I had had. sleeping
Okay.
and all that. And so I
Yeah.
drove her to school, and she's like, I'm not getting out the car. I can't get out the car. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And that's when she broke down crying and told me how she was feeling. And she's like, I feel like I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to end up in a mental institution. I'm like, no, you're not.
And you were able to help her.
Yeah. So
And
that's what, like,
so-
I didn't see the signs, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah. It is. It is a lot. But thank you for sharing your
Yeah.
story.
And if anyone wants to reach out to us,
Yes, we do have an email. If you have any questions about this particular episode, or if you just want to say hi, it is the Naked Truth Podcast at gmail.com, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
or if you can find us on Instagram, send us a message, or Facebook. Yeah, or just if you know where we live, come and knock on the door. Unless you're a creepy stalker.
No. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Good. You're welcome.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.